Good morning, I'm Randy Anderson with AquaRecycle. This video is going to help explain how to exchange the contactors out inside the control panel. The contactors will actually physically turn on your shaker table and your pumps. And since they are a mechanical contact that pulls the contact together, they do tend to wear out over time and they have to be replaced. So the first thing you need to do is open up the control panel. So in this case, we're going to change out the process pump contactor. It's got an old and it's no longer making contact with all three phases. So turn the breaker off, and I'm going to turn a couple extra breakers off to quiet it down in here. And these breakers happen to have a lockout tag out, so I prefer to go ahead and lock it out so you don't accidentally get yourself shocked. And you can do it with just a cable tie. And that locks that contactor out, so you can no longer close it and take the potential of electrocuting yourself. This is the contactor in question. We're going to pull it out. We've got to pull the three wires out of the top and the three wires out of the top, out of the bottom. We've also got to pull out this contact, which is Y0, which is coming from the PLC, which can be a live wire. So we need to temporarily turn that off by turning off the L3 and the PLC breaker and the contactor. So it's the PLC breaker and the L3 breaker up there on the top. Now the PLC's off, and this is now dead. There's no longer any power going to it. So I'll disconnect the bottom wires. It's out. Now I can disconnect the neutral on the coil. I can disconnect the feed wire from the PLC. And now I can disconnect the source wires from the breaker. So now there's no longer any power on my contactor. So now with all the wires disconnected, I can pull the contactor out of the block, out of the control panel. These new contactors are nice. There's no clip. You just push down as hard on the top, lower down slightly, and it'll pull back out. On the older contactor, there's actually a little lever on the bottom. You get a screwdriver in the lever, pop it down, and then the contactor will pull out. So this contactor will get replaced, bring the new one in. It goes in the reverse order, so put it on top of the DIN rail, push it down to the bottom, and it'll snap back in place. Now all I gotta do is just reconnect my wires. So this one says Y0, that's my signal feed from the PLC. And it goes back in the A1 slot. Make sure your wires are nice and tight so they don't slip and fall out. I'll put my neutrals back in A2. Now I can turn back on my PLC since I won't be using that power any longer. And then I need to reconnect my wires back in the contact side. And just make sure you follow the same color coordination as the wires next to it. These happen to be three-phase panels, so if I do the wiring in reverse order, I'll end up turning the pumps backwards. So in this case, I've got brown in the middle. And I've got yellow on the right. and orange on the left. And you'll notice that the bottom wire colors don't necessarily match the top wire colors. We've changed it. We've reversed the bottom wire colors to match rotation for the motors. Now I connect the 3 top wires. And it always helps whenever you're doing rewiring is just to retwist the wire back together. They'll go back into place easier. And lastly, my brown wire. And that's it. My new contactor is now in place. I can pull out the lockout, which in this case I need to cut out. Okay, now you've got the contactor in. Let's turn the pump back on. So I rotate my breaker on. And now with my pump on, I need to check rotation to make sure I've got the wiring correctly. In this case, I always want my pumps to be rotating in the clockwise direction to make sure the fan blade is spinning in the clockwise direction. And that completes this video.